Hello and welcome to day 21 of this trading series. Today's trade is going to be reviewing a trade that was placed on April 29th, and this was using also a demo account. So this was a Monday. I've talked about this already during the series. I don't like Mondays. So just to be totally open and honest, this was also on a demo account. So the one you saw in the previous video was a demo account, and this was building off of that same demo account. I'll see in the next, or I think at the end of the next day or so, like I'll show you guys like that I still stay on the same demo account. So all the trades are on there for record, but it's demo account. So this is not real money. This is like play money that I made. But I did want to trade on this day in order to be able to submit a point for my team and to be able to help, because at this point, Happy Trail was in the playoffs. So I wasn't going to not trade to be able to help them, but I also don't like Mondays. And you'll see in this trade when we go over it, it was a crazy Monday. So let's look at it. So you guys can probably see like there is just massive candles happening during this day. So yeah, there's just a lot of volatility happening. And I don't like Mondays for this reason. This can happen a lot, especially if there's news. And I just not a fan of like whiplash type of like volatility, especially when they're like this massive. So we are here on NASDAQ 100. This is the 5-minute time frame. So these are some pretty large candles. And what you'll see that I have marked here is the Monday opening candle, the dotted line. And that is just showing you kind of like the consolidation that did happen around opening, and then that false breakout that happened. So that breakout candle that you're seeing happening with opening, that's just a liquidity trap. And that happens a lot on Mondays. And as a breakout trader, those they are the worst, because that's where you fall into, the trap just like everyone else. So for us breakout traders, those really aren't fun. And they happen a decent amount on Mondays, and I just don't like them. So I avoid Mondays usually with my actual trading, with my personal trading. So I try to keep to my rules the best I can. Strategy wars or like tournaments or stuff like that, I obviously have to still trade on Mondays, but I try my best to look for the things that I know happen from all the testing. And the biggest thing I see on Mondays is this liquidity trap with a false breakout. So that's what you're seeing here happen. So if you are somebody who likes to breakout trade and you are having problems on Mondays, check your testing, go back and journal them out and see if that's your problem, because you may be like me where you're just having this issue on Mondays because you're getting false breakout. But anyhow, that is what you're seeing here. And I was kind of waiting that out to see if that was going to happen. And sure enough, it did. And then these like crazy bearish candles print, which were really nice to see, except that they were massive. And while it's nice to see a huge candle like this and like know that there's like a ton of momentum happening, it's also not something I typically would want to enter at the close of that candle, because that's a huge stop loss that I have to keep. And then I have to be going for a pretty decent reward to make that large of a stop loss worth it. And I just wasn't there yet. I was like, let me just wait and see a little longer, let whatever's happening here play out. And then if there is a pullback of some sort, I'll wait for that. And then like if I get a pullback / retest of some sort, then I'll look for my entry. And that is what ended up happening. So this crazy bearish move happens. I was waiting to see how that would play out, what would happen. I let it play out. It came to like around this area and then starts to push back up for its retracement of that bigger, move, huge bearish move that happens. And, once I got a nice confirmation that, we were probably going to be going back into the bearish direction with this bearish smiley face and another nice strong candle that was engulfing. So it did engulf the previous bullish candle, because this is a pretty strong bullish candle. But then this is like a massive bearish candle that engulfs it and also has a bearish smiley face with it. So once that happened, I was like, okay, I'm interested in getting in. However, again, I don't love how large this candle is to keep a stop loss for it. So I kind of like waited out for the next candle printing and like was hoping maybe I could get like a halfway retracement of this bigger candle just to get a better price. And that is what happened. So you can see it did kind of wick up into this area. And around that point, when it was about halfway-ish of this bearish candle, that's when I had entered. That's something I just do sometimes personally. Like, I like to see a better price. 'Cause like I said, this is a massive candle, and I would have had to enter way down here and had a pretty large stop loss still. And then my risk to reward probably just, I mean, maybe it would have worked out just about, but it wouldn't have been enough for me to be comfortable with. And anyway, that's sometimes I'll wait for like one more candle and see if I can get a better price. And that's what I did here. So I did enter in at this price point. My stop loss, I did go high. um, I just wasn't sure at this time because of how much volatility was happening in the market. And, in hindsight, obviously I could have just kept it here and had a larger risk to reward. But you don't know in real time that that's going to happen. And there was so much volatility. Like the size of these candles were just ridiculous. So I did go with the safer stop loss. So I just covered the top of this consolidation zone that we initially broke from. And it worked out for me. And then the take profit was just targeting kind of like the bottom of this area, just where right before these candles kind of ended and the wick started. I've talked about this before. I like a higher probability. I want more touches with my price action rather than being like way down at the very bottom trying to capture every little, bit of it. I'd rather see more candles and more price and touch. That to me, like that's a number over here, a price point that more people are involved with versus just like one little wick. So that's, again, a personal thing for me. But that's why I put my take profit where it is, just at this area, capturing this action that's happening here. And then the market comes down and it does wick just below into this area and grab my take profit. So that is what happens here. That was my analysis for this trade. And like I said, this isn't real money, but it worked out to be $1,130.85 for this demo account in profit. So would have been a nice day if it was on a live account. But again, it's a Monday. So that is it for this day. And my guess here is there's probably some kind of big news. So just disclaimer, check your news prior because these candles are pretty big. So I'm assuming a high impact news of some sort hit on that's probably the reason for this. But make sure you're checking your news. And again, if you're somebody who's having issues as a breakout trader on Mondays, go back and see if maybe your entries are happening during the opening of one of these markets on a Monday, and if that might be your problem and you're falling for these like liquidity traps. So maybe you might want to keep Mondays off of your trading schedule like I do, or whatever day. But if you find that you're falling for these liquidity traps, just know that it is very common. It does happen a lot with breakout traders. But you really should be journaling your trades out so that we can kind of see like where are those patterns happening for you and how can you help prevent them from happening, because it's inevitable. It will happen for a breakout trader. You're going to have losses due to false breakouts, but they can be avoided, especially if you can try and predict when some of these liquidity traps are happening. Anyhow, that is it for this trade, and I will see you guys in next week.